Imagine this, you're 12 years old. Your father is dead. You're the future king of England. An army escorts you toward London to claim the throne. Everyone says you're about to become the most powerful person in the country. Instead, you vanish. No body, no confession, no proven killer. Just a mystery that has survived for more than 500 years. This is CrimeArchive, and tonight, on Unsolved Historical Mysteries, we're opening one of the oldest cold cases in history. The disappearance of the princes in the Tower. April 1483. England is unstable. The country has spent decades tearing itself apart in a series of civil wars known as the Wars of the Roses, the House of York against the House of Lancaster. When King Edward IV suddenly dies at just 40 years old, the crown should pass immediately to his eldest son, 12-year-old Edward, the future Edward V. His younger brother Richard is only 9. Neither boy knows it yet, but their lives are about to become one of history's greatest mysteries. At first, everything appears normal. The kingdom prepares for a coronation. Officials begin making plans. The new king is expected in London, but behind the scenes, powerful men are already moving pieces across the board, and one of them is the boy's own uncle, Richard, Duke of Gloucester. Richard had a reputation as a capable soldier, a loyal brother, a respected nobleman. After Edward IV's death, he was appointed Lord Protector. His job was simple: protect the young king until he was old enough to rule. Instead, Richard moved quickly. Very quickly. He intercepted young Edward on his journey to London. Several of the king's supporters were arrested. Some were later executed. The boy king was escorted to London, but he wasn't taken to a palace. He was taken to the Tower of London. At the time, this wasn't immediately alarming. The Tower served as a royal residence, as well as a fortress. Many monarchs stayed there before their coronation. The problem was what happened next. A few weeks later, Edward's younger brother Richard was brought to join him. Now both heirs to the throne were inside the Tower, together, under the supervision of their uncle. And after that, they were rarely seen again. The coronation date arrived. Then it was postponed. Then postponed again. Rumors began spreading through London. Something wasn't right. Then came a shocking announcement. Church officials declared that Edward IV's marriage had been invalid, which meant his children were illegitimate, which meant neither prince could inherit the throne. Suddenly, the boys who had been born princes were no longer considered lawful heirs, and if they couldn't rule, someone else could. A man named Richard, their uncle. On July 6, 1483, Richard was crowned king, King Richard III. The princes were still alive, still in the Tower, still a threat to his claim. And after that summer, they vanished. Witnesses reported seeing the boys playing in the Tower gardens, looking out from windows, walking along the walls. Then the sightings became less frequent. Then they stopped entirely. No official announcement, no funeral, no explanation. No one ever publicly saw either prince again. People began asking questions. Richard offered no answers. The royal heirs had disappeared, and nobody seemed willing to investigate. But here's where the story becomes truly unsettling. Nearly 200 years later, workers made a discovery inside the Tower of London. One that reignited the mystery all over again. In 1674, laborers were demolishing a staircase inside the tower. While digging, they found a wooden chest. Inside were the skeletal remains of 2 children. The discovery immediately sparked speculation. Could these be the missing princes? King Charles II believed they were. The remains were placed inside Westminster Abbey, and for centuries, many people accepted that the mystery had finally been solved. But there was a problem, a very big problem. No one could actually prove the bones belonged to the princes. Not then, and not now. The remains were examined centuries later. Experts confirmed they belonged to children, but technology at the time couldn't establish their identities. Today, some historians want modern DNA testing performed. Others oppose disturbing the remains. which means one of history's biggest mysteries may still be sitting in a royal tomb, unidentified. For over 500 years, one suspect has dominated the discussion: King Richard III. The boys vanished while under his control. He benefited from their disappearance, and he never produced them alive. To many historians, the conclusion seems obvious. Richard had motive, opportunity, and power. Case closed. Except, history is rarely that simple. Richard ruled for only 2 years. In 1485, he was killed in battle. His enemy seized the throne, a man named Henry Tudor, Henry VII, the founder of a brand new royal dynasty. And here's the question historians still debate: what if Richard didn't kill the princes? What if Henry had more to gain from their deaths than anyone else? After all, as long as the princes were alive, Henry's own claim to the throne was weak. Over the centuries, alternative suspects have emerged: Henry VII, powerful nobles, Tower officials, even theories claiming one or both boys escaped. Books have been written, documentaries produced, arguments fought across generations. Yet every theory runs into the same problem: evidence. There simply isn't enough of it. The disappearance happened more than 5 centuries ago. Records are incomplete. Witnesses were unreliable. And many accounts were written years after the fact, by people with political agendas. The princes in the tower aren't remembered simply because 2 boys vanished. History is full of disappearances. What makes this case different is what it reveals about power. The boys weren't ordinary children. They were heirs to a kingdom, and yet even they weren't safe. Their story reminds us that political ambition can be stronger than family loyalty. That truth is often the first casualty of a power struggle, and that sometimes the people who should be most protected become the most vulnerable. More than 500 years have passed. Kings have risen and fallen. Empires have come and gone. The Tower of London still stands, and somewhere within its walls lingers a question nobody has been able to answer. What happened to Edward and Richard? Were they murdered? Did they die of natural causes? Did someone secretly remove them from the tower, or did the truth disappear with the people who knew it? We may never know, but one thing is certain: 2 boys entered the Tower of London in 1483, and history never saw them again. What do you think happened to the princes in the tower? Was Richard III responsible, or has history blamed the wrong man for over 5 centuries? Leave your theory in the comments below, and if you enjoy unsolved mysteries, historical conspiracies, and cold cases that refuse to die, subscribe to CrimeArchive for more from Unsolved Historical Mysteries, because some files never close.